Greetings and salutations from beautiful Greenville, North Carolina. Burr, 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 burr. Welcome back to my channel. Now, it's that time of the month again where we're going to be talking about those October pickups. Now, once again, I had a massive haul, so we're not going to waste too much time with this intro. Let's go ahead and get into the books that we picked up this month. Alrighty, like I said in the intro, we have once again a massive haul for this month, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to kick November's pickups off with something I actually picked up in September and I forgot to feature in that video, but I did want to show it a little bit of love, and that's going to be Immortal Rain Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This one is a series from one of my favorite writers I talked about last time, Ozaki, and I've actually been enjoying this. I've read Volume 1 so far. Let me just pick this up. I've read Volume 1 so far. I really want to read the rest of it. However, I've got some other things that's been a priority. You know, it's always going to be there. Now, a weird thing about this series is it is actually complete at 11 volumes, but the other whatever number of volumes, I think 4 volumes, never got made in English. They never got translated to English. So we're kind of stuck with this one. But so far, it's been pretty good. Basically, this dude right here is immortal, lives forever. This young girl right here is the daughter of one of his rivals. And essentially, they kind of link up and start going on adventures together. This is essentially a shoujo, if I'm not mistaken, with a lot of action elements. But really cool, kind of, you know, classic Ozaki art. You know, I can't complain too much about it. And the story's actually pretty damn good so far. I really enjoy Volume 1, like a whole lot. So definitely recommend this if you can find it. It is out of print at this moment. As you can see, it was Tokyo Pop. It's out of print at this moment, but you can usually find a hodgepodge of volumes here and there for pretty decent prices if you're willing to get some in okay condition. The next thing that we picked up was the Bakuman box set. So that's going to be 1 through 20. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of these up here. I'm probably going to have to stack them in groups of 2, but I did pick up the box set. I know you can't necessarily, let me back this up a little bit. There we go. I know that you can't see the box set itself or the box itself. I do have it. I just didn't feel like, you know, ramping it all together, putting it all together and bringing it here into the room. But as you can see, a bunch of volumes here. But yeah, it's the full box set 1 through 20. Do I really need to do this? Yes, I do. I have to show you every single cover. I have not read this yet, but I just wanted this series so bad. Once I saw, like I say in my videos all the time, I am like really intrigued about reading books about manga, reading manga about manga. Like I'm super into that. And I heard that this is one of the best. And so I had to pick it up. Now, if you're not familiar with this, and I do believe this has an anime as well, but correct me down in the comments if it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure that it does. I refuse to watch it. I want to read the manga. My understanding with this is basically there's this really talented manga artist, this guy right here, young guy. He's like basically a prodigy, and he essentially links up with like friends and people he meets along the way and creates like one of the best manga ever made. And so really enjoying reading that process is something that I'm looking forward to. So probably we'll be getting into this very soon. So the next thing that I want to show you guys is the Dangers in My Heart 9, which is fucking peak romance. I love The Dangers in My Heart. In fact, this is literally my favorite manga. I love this manga. I know it's about middle schoolers, and I talk all the time about how I want to read more books about adults doing things and more adult romance, but damn, this is so good. And I was a little worried about the series falling off after it hit such a crescendo in Volume 8, but man, there is no fall off on this, man. This is still peak. It is still peak, and I have waited 6 months for this volume to come out, and it is finally here, and it is just so enjoyable, man. I mean, it was just so much fun being back in the world of these characters again and seeing Yamada hanging out with Ichikawa again. It's just, I love these two, man. I love these two. So The Dangers of My Heart 9. So our next pickup is 365 Days to the Wedding, Volume 1 and 2. Now, I hadn't been seeing the series on shelves for months and kind of kept balking at it. I figured I would probably like it, but I wasn't sure. But what really put me over the edge was the anime adaptation, which I've been tuning into every week. And man, it has been a huge surprise to me this season. I have thoroughly enjoyed watching this week to week, and I figured I wanted to read the manga as well. And so I have volumes 3 and 4 coming in tomorrow, but that will be outside of October, so they're not gonna make it in this particular haul. But man, I haven't started reading it yet. I probably will start reading it soon because I kind of want to get a little bit ahead of the anime. But man, what a great series. I absolutely love these two, and guess what, they're adults, so that's a bonus as well. So the next thing I want to show is Blade of the Moon Princess 5. I have actually read the entire series, and I gotta say I really enjoyed it. Now, this is one I think that has oddly mixed reviews. Like, I feel like the story is pretty straightforward, and it does have a few issues, in my opinion, at least, on how the action is drawn at times. Like, I think sometimes it's a little bit harder to follow, though I will say it does get better in some of the later volumes of the story. But like, overall, I think the art is pretty damn good. I think the story is pretty decent and easy to follow, and it's short at 5 volumes. But I thought this was really good, a really fun ride. I really enjoyed this. I would actually highly recommend reading this series. It is from the creator of Spy Family, and I know a lot of people love that one. That one just didn't quite appeal to me, so I never really got into it. But I did really enjoy this series, and I'm very glad that I committed to it, to be honest with you. I would definitely recommend picking this up and giving it a shot. So our next pickup is the Hachioji Specialty Tengu's Love. This is one I think that actually came out in September, and I remembered the artwork cover, but I could not remember the name of the book. And I was recently watching, I think it was Manga Geek, and he was talking about reading this book, and it reminded me of the name. So I went out looking for it that same day, and I finally found it. He said it was pretty good, and I'm actually looking forward to reading this. This is basically a little bit of a yokai love story or whatever. I'm pretty interested in that. So really looking forward to reading this one. I think it has like an interesting, quirky premise that I can't articulate at the moment, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because we got a lot of books to get through. Definitely looking forward to reading this one. Next up, we have the Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity Volume 3, and I think it is time for me finally to lock in and start reading this series. I have been waiting for Volume 3 to come out forever because I have been dying to read this. It just was not high priority for me until I got about 3 volumes in, because I already know a lot about the story and I just want to kind of binge it over a weekend or over a couple of days. So I'm excited to finally get Volume 3. We talked about this a little bit in some previous pickup videos, and one of my previous pickup videos, but man, the artwork is there. I think the writing is pretty good in this damn book. I'm just really excited to finally just be able to lock in, sit down and read a decent amount of this, decent chunk of this, and get through it and get ready for Volume 4 to come out. So next up, what I think is going to be the next big peak high school romance, and that's Kusunoki's Flunking Her High School Glow Up Volume 2. Loved Volume 1. I loved Volume 1 of this book, and it's taken everything in me not to go ahead and read Volume 2. Like I said, I have other things that are a little bit of a priority from my backlog from previous months, and so I am waiting to read this. I will be reading it soon, but damn, man, I love this story. I think the artwork is great. I love these characters, and I'm really looking forward to kind of figuring out what's gonna happen next in this juicy teenage dramedy. Excited about it. Next up, we have Kurokiya-San Wants to Lead Him Around by the Nose, and this is one that I picked up in one of my recent manga vlogs, and this is one that I don't know, I was kind of on the fence on, and I talked about this a little bit in the video. I wasn't sure if I was really gonna commit to picking it up, and I don't know, I just decided to roll the dice on it and give it a shot. I mean, I do like a good Gyaru story, and so that's what we're kind of looking at with this one. Essentially, this particular Gyaru in this book is high school friends with this gentleman on the cover, and he's supposed to be tutoring her, but She wants his man meat. So we're going to see how this particular one plays out. I believe it's going to end up being a little bit more wholesome than it is horny, or maybe a little bit of both. I think it's going to remind me a little bit of the Please Go Home Misakatsu that kind of vibe. So I'm looking forward to reading this particular book, though it's pretty, honestly, admittedly low on my reading list right now. Something that is very high on my reading list right now is I Want to Do Bad Things with You Volume 2. Listen, man, the first volume was an absolute banger, and what a very fun ride. I mean, I absolutely love those characters, and I am excited to see what happens next in this book. I could not wait for this one to come out, though I have, once again, been trying to read through my backlog from previous months, so I haven't gotten around to it quite yet, though I do want to read it soon before I forget what happened in Volume 1. But man, what an excellent story. I mean, I just can't, and I don't want to spoil myself too much, so I'm flipping through it kind of fast. But man, what a great kind of ride to begin with. So I'm really excited to get back into it. Now, I told you I like those Gyaru, so you knew I was going to get that Nakamura-San, the Uninvited Gyaru. And I actually found out about this one through one of those silly little like YouTube manga recaps, and it made me want to pick this thing up when I saw that there was a physical volume coming out. And simple, this is probably a little bit more like Please Go Home Misakatsu, because this girl, and they're both adults, thank God they're not teenagers, so this girl and the main character work together at like a restaurant or whatever, and she kind of doesn't have anywhere to go, but she also likes the MC, and so she kind of forces herself to move in with the MC, and hijinks ensue. And it's just like a really cool book about a Gyaru who also happens to be a little bit of an otaku herself, living with another oblivious otaku, and hijinks ensue. So probably will keep up with this series, whereas the other one that I was talking about, the Kurokiya-San, I'm not quite sure about that one, but this one I will probably keep up with because this is like right in my wheelhouse. Okay, so the next thing we did was keep up with the Sketchy series with Sketchy Volume 4. I really, really enjoyed Sketchy Volume 1. I have read it so far. I've been trying to work my way around to number 2. I've carried it with me to work a few times, but I just haven't had a chance to crack it open. But I went ahead and picked up Volume 4. I have so far really invested in the characters, really invested in the story. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of like where Sketchy goes from here on out. But the artwork is actually like very dope, very appealing. It kind of reminds me, and once again, I do like artwork that kind of reminds me of anime, has kind of like that anime look to it. Like I could definitely see this being animated, very easily, though I don't know, I doubt it probably will get animated. But yeah, girls in their 30s learning how to skate. Super excited to get into Volume 4 once I get around to it. Okay, the next thing I picked up was Captain Momo's Secret Base. Now, I have not opened this one yet. As you can see, it's in plastic, and we can't really flip through it because it's definitely got some adult things in it, though not quite SMUT. We have a whole section for SMUT coming up soon. But this one right here is just basically about this captain floating around in space, mostly in her underwear because, she's in space. She want to be comfortable. And yeah, just doing things, having adventures. So looking forward to reading this one soon. This is like one I'm probably going to have to read at home. So that's why I haven't cracked it open quite yet, because I probably do more of my reading like on my way to work, at work, on my lunch breaks, and in between tasks or whatever. And so I just can't break this one out in the middle of work, and it's just boobs. So, but yeah, looking forward to reading this one soon. Next up is one that I am surprised that doesn't get more kind of talk on the manga channels, and that is Tank Chair. This is one that I thought would be a bit more like popping, a little bit more conversation around, and one that I was like very interested in picking up. I haven't read it yet. I am kind of familiar with the premise. Basically the premise is there's a young girl whose brother is basically like paralyzed and doesn't really talk or whatever, but he's in a wheelchair. She basically gets it outfitted with some crazy weapons or whatever to get through this post-apocalyptic world, and there's like a trigger word that basically gets him to go into berserk mode and go crazy with the tank chair. I think that's like basically the gist of it, though I'm sure it's a little bit deeper than that. But there was a few things that drew me to this. I like the premise. I've been looking for more action series to get into, and also the artwork is like pretty freaking cool. And who doesn't like a good dystopian post-apocalyptic kind of series? And so I've really been looking forward to reading it. I just haven't like circled around to it because there's a few other things that's been taking priority, but I will probably be reading it soon-ish, But yeah, Tank Chair. Surprised people aren't talking about this more. So next up we have Versus Volume 1, which is from the creator of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100, as well as, some other people. I was very hyped up for this one when I heard it was coming out, and I'm just surprised I don't hear more people talking about it. But anyway, this one is basically like a fantasy adventure kind of situation, going to find a demon lord, that type of beat with like some interesting twist to it. So I'm super excited about this one. It's got some really great artwork to it. So this one is a fantasy adventure situation, has like a few kind of interesting elements to it, not really reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but I think one's writing will really kind of subvert the genre a little bit. So I'm super interested in that. I did read the first few pages of it and I did find it to be quite an interesting read. Haven't circled back around to it since, but the artwork is looking pretty good in there. I think the premise is solid. It's got some legs to it. I think this could be like the next big hit from one. So I'm looking forward to reading this one, and hopefully more people will be talking about this series again here in the future. Next up, I picked up Pupposites Attract Volume 2. I actually ended up really loving Volume 1. It is not reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but it is absolutely adorable, absolutely wholesome. I just really, really enjoyed this story and what I read of it so far. And so I'm looking forward to, finding out more about these two and, watching them kind of build. And there's definitely some potential for some good romance in there. I think both of them are cute. I think there's like just enough characterization for each character and their dogs to keep you coming back for more. And I think the series has like a ton of potential. So yeah, Pupposites Attract. If you like dogs, if you like really cheesy kind of rom-com romance stories, pick it up. So next up, another continuing series, and the last two volumes of it is going to be 15 minutes before we really date. Now, I talked about this in my September haul video, and I wasn't sure about it back then. I did read the first two volumes, and I thoroughly enjoyed this particular series. It was so good. Even though I still got some issues with the artwork, it did get better in volume 2, so I thought I would go ahead and commit to the final 2, especially because it is complete at 4 volumes, so it's not going to take up a ton of space. So shout out to this series. I'm really looking forward to reading these two. I actually almost went ahead and completed them, but like I said, I got other things that are taking priority and I'm trying to stay focused. Next up is another ongoing series, and we have Freiren Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, Volume 10 and 11. So these are all the current volumes that are available right now to pick up on the shelf. I have really been enjoying Freiren. This is one of those things that's been taking priority because every time I read a volume of Freiren, I just find myself wanting to read the next volume almost immediately. So I have really, really been enjoying Freiren. If you have not read it, I would definitely highly recommend it. And once we kind of get into this book, we're starting to spill over into more like new content. So super excited to kind of dig into this. I think it's great. I won't flip through any of these because I really don't want to spoil myself for this series, especially because I don't have any context for anything that happens after the end of the anime. So our next series is going to be Yoshi no Zuikara, and that's going to be Volume 1, 2, and 3. Almost mixed them up there. I picked these up from that Second and Charles shopping trip. If you hadn't watched that video, click the card, check it out above. But I picked this up during that shopping trip, got a really great deal on it. Haven't actually read them yet, but I once again like works about manga artists creating manga, and so I thought this would be a really cool pickup for me. Now I haven't even really so much as flipped through this one. I did love the covers though, and I love the fact that it's complete at 3 volumes. It may be rushed, it may not be, but I'm really excited to read it. And the next thing that we picked up this month from, I think I got these from eBay actually, is Service X Servant Volumes 1 and 2. These are omnibus, so they're a little bit thicker than your average. This is essentially about people working in public works while also trying to live their lives, and it's funny and it's cool, and there's an anime adaptation of it, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. There's not a ton I can say about it. It's just really cute, really wholesome, really kind of awesome. I'm looking forward to like the office romance kind of dynamics of it. Now, I usually don't like books that use this type of paneling, but at least it's not that type of paneling throughout the entire book. Like the entire book is not like that, but there is a lot of it in there. But it's not as bad as like Bocce the Rock. I just did not like Bocce and the way it did that kind of paneling. I really hated it, but this right here is a little bit more tolerable. So looking forward to reading this series here soon. Now, the next thing I picked up is Oishinbo. Oishinbo. Am I saying this right? I have no idea. But I picked this up because of a YouTube video that I watched actually talking about this particular series. Mostly talking about like the anime and the Japanese version of it, but I thought I would give it a shot because I love Japanese food. I like cooking it. I like eating it. And I thought this would be like right up my alley. I thought this would be a good pickup for me. So shout out to you who made that video. I can't remember your name right now, but I will put a link to the video down below. I think it's a great and well done video. So much so that it made me go out and find these first 2 volumes of this series, and I'm definitely going to probably pick up the rest of them. I just thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool, like just a book about food, a food critic, you know, going around and eating different food and talking about like how it should be. He also happens to be like a pretty lazy guy, and there's a whole lot of dynamics to it. And I thought it would remind me a lot of reading like Maison Ikkoku, and so I thought I would give it a shot. And then it also does include some recipes in there, which I am looking forward to trying as well. So super excited to read these in the near future. I'm not saying that I necessarily recommend this to you, but if you do like food, if you like stories about food, if you like weird kind of slice of like life takes, I think maybe give this a shot. You can probably find the volumes for like relatively cheap at this point. Okay, now it's time to talk about the more risque pickups that I had for this month, aka SMUT. And we're going to start off with Gigant Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, there's not going to be much that we can flip through so that I can show you what this book looks like, but it comes from the creator of Gantz, and it is pretty freaking smutty. It's not the worst on this list, though, I will tell you that much. Anyway, it pretty much centers around this guy being a high school student and this girl being an adult film star who is an adult. And she happens to have the ability to grow big and fight kaiju. Pretty weird premise. Will probably be a little bit off-putting to some people. I found it to be quite enjoyable, if not a little bit basic. I have read a few issues of this so far. This is another one that I can only read at home, and I got to pick and choose what I read at home. But yeah, Gigant, volume 1 through 10. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about this. If you know, you know. Now, next up, we have Devil Ecstasy, I should say, volume 1 and volume 2. Now, I have read about half or maybe a quarter of volume 1, and I actually enjoyed it a lot. It is definitely smut, but it's a little bit of a mystery type smutty adventure. I don't know. It was definitely an interesting ass read that I've been meaning to circle back around to, but once again, can only read this one at home. Once again, we will not be flipping through this one because I do not want to get flagged by the YouTube gods, but I did want to point out that I picked this up. This was actually a pretty good spooky season read, and I meant to read it on Halloween for myself, but just didn't get around to it because I was trying to edit and do some things with some other videos. Now, last and most certainly not least for the smut, it is going to be Booty Royale, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. I didn't even realize I had this many volumes of Booty Royale. I mean, you see the covers. You know what time it is. I ain't even gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a better man than I am, because you see the covers. You know what time it is. We ain't gonna be flipping through none of these. You're not going through this because this right here, this nasty. It's real nasty. Okay. Suffice it to say that a lot of different things happen in this, but it does eventually devolve into a like worldwide battle royale tournament, which is where the Booty Royale name comes from, I assume. But this right here, this is probably the smuttiest thing that I own, and it is absolutely filthy. I enjoy it though. I really do. That's it for our smut break. Now, back to the regular stuff. Okay, now that we're back from our smut break, why don't we go over the last portion of it, which are the omnibus or thick boys that we have up in here. And we're going to start that off with a series that I've pretty much enjoyed all of, but I know the fandom is pretty split on, and that is going to be Tokyo Revengers Volume 1, 2, 3, 4 with my boy Baji on it. Too bad I can't get my boy Baji in there. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We'll go ahead and stack that up in a little pyramid for you there. Tokyo Revengers, I think, gets a lot more hate than is deserved. Like, I get it that Takemichi is a little bit of a whiny bitch, but like, still, it's really good storytelling for the most part. I know a lot of people don't like the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I enjoyed it. I don't know. I like these characters, and I like the direction that it went in. And I get it. I get it. You want people to pay for the things that they do, but, you know, it doesn't always happen that way, and it doesn't always have to happen that way. But anyway, I got these on Mercari in a lot. I think it was 2 separate lots. One was for the first 6, and I think the other one was for the other 3. And I'll probably continue doing that. Just maybe we'll wait a little while just to see if I can possibly get another lot with some of the other ones that I need to complete the series, or I might just buy them individually. I don't know, but I got all of these for such a good price. It's gonna be hard for me to pay cover price for these. Now, the weird thing about this particular series is the first 3 volumes of these omnibus came in like a different textured cover, and then they went with the gloss covers like from there on, which is kind of weird. But you know, Tokyo Revengers is pretty popular, so I am sure that you have flipped through or seen the artwork in these before. I don't think I necessarily have to do this, but yeah, I think it's a great series. I was glad to be able to get it for such a great price, and really add it to my collection. Okay, next up is a shoujo I wasn't familiar with, but I thought I would give it a shot, and I basically also bought it because I wanted to reach a certain dollar amount so I could get a discount, and that is Red River. Now, I know a lot of old school manga fans have really been happy to see this get reprinted, and I thought it might be worth giving a try because it's quite a few of them are ones that I enjoy watching and I trust their taste. So I thought I would give this a shot. Don't know a ton about the premise beyond, you know, what's on the back of the book. So, I mean, we can go through that, which is basically a modern teenager is transported to an ancient world as part of a scheme by an evil person, you know, who is a queen, and na sounds like some Inuyasha type shit. I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna probably get into this soon because it does look honestly kind of interesting. It's got like a very kind of Egypt vibe to it, I guess, if I were to say anything. So very interested in reading this one. Now, this next one is one I picked up in that Second and Charles haul in the last video that I put out, and I definitely butchered the name, but I believe it is actually pronounced the Inukami. The Inukami Omnibus Volume 1 and 2, and this is complete at 2 volumes. I am super excited to read this. I did read a little bit of it, first few pages of it, and I thought it was really cute and I thought it was really interesting, even though the MC so far seems kind of insufferable, but you know, we love the insufferable MC. Come on. But really, really cute. Seems like it's gonna have some nice little twists and turns in it. Seems like that classic kind of 90s 2000s kind of vibe to it. You know, you got some yokai vibes, which I really like. You know, a little bit of romance, a little bit of coming of age, like give me all of that. So super interested in reading these in the very, very near future, and they're nice compact omnibus, which I really like, much like Red River was. And our next pickup is probably one you're going to be seeing in a lot of manga hauls for this month, and it's going to be Your Lie in April Omnibus Volume 1. And yeah, I've been waiting months for this to come out. I've been really excited to read this. I've heard nothing but good things about this series. I think it is right up my alley. I like things that deal with like entertainment, like me, like music or artwork or anything like that, you know, so that's why I have a couple of series that talk about making manga, and now we have one about making music. music, and I've been waiting to read this for a while. But yeah, super excited. Like I said, I've only heard really good things about this, and I think you're gonna see a lot of manga hauls with this in it in the near future if they don't already have the singles. I kind of bypass getting the singles to get the omnibus because I'm the omnibus king. I like omnibus. Like, I prefer these thicker formats. I feel like they help me take up a little less space on the shelf, to be honest with you. That's why I like them so much, and I just really like those thick spines. I mean, it's hit or miss whether or not the spine will be good. This one's like, it's whatever. It's not too crazy. It doesn't look like super good or anything like that, but still, I like the way they look on the shelf. So yeah, you're lying, April. All right, and for our last set of thick omnibus, some returning favorites from last month's pickups, and that's going to be Inuyasha Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, and Volume 2, which I forgot to say first. But yeah, I picked up a few more volumes of Inuyasha. Still haven't gotten into reading it quite yet. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to complete the series. So I try to pick up one every few weeks or whatever, which I haven't picked one up this time around. But I try to pick up one every few weeks and try to get this collection filled out with Inuyasha books. But yeah, we got a pretty, a quarter of the series collected now at Volume 6. So yeah, I've been looking at picking up Volume 7 for a while. I've mostly, honestly, gotten these for Amazon. They always have them on sale on Amazon, so I get these on Amazon more often than not. But yeah, getting closer to completing Inuyasha, one step closer. So yeah. And of course, if we're talking about Rumiko Takahashi, we have to talk about what has been my favorite series from her, and that's going to be Maison Ikkoku Volume 7, Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 10. That is right, we have completed the series. Got these on a Crunchyroll sale for, I think, maybe $15 or $16 a volume. So relatively cheap comparatively, because these are normally like $25. So that's like a really, really great price on these. So yeah, completed the series. I've actually read, I think, up to Volume 4. So I've read Volumes 1, 2, and 3. Still loving this story. Still think it is hilarious. Still waiting for her and what's his face to get together, but I'm enjoying the journey along the way so far. And last but most certainly not least, we have Vagabond Volume 8, Volume 9, and Volume 12. So we are complete with the current Vagabond omnibus that are out right now. I have also been reading Vagabond, another one of those things that's been taking priority for me in my reading. I think I'm at Volume 3 now, and I have really, really enjoyed it. I mean, Vagabond is just so fucking good, man. It is really, really good. I have really been enjoying this series. It takes everything in me not to just go ahead and plow through the whole thing, but I like to bounce around when I read and read some different things. But yeah, I've really been loving Vagabond so far. But yeah, I was happy to be able to finally get the entire series. Go ahead and get the rest of, well, it's not the entire series because obviously it's on hiatus, and there is Volume 37 out now. You can buy it. So it looks like, Vagabond's going through a print cycle right now, so they're a little bit easier to find than when I was hunting them, a couple of months ago. I'm starting to see them on shelves at my Barnes and Noble and different other places. So I definitely say if you've been interested in buying Vagabond or reading Vagabond, now is a great time to go out and pick it up. So anyway, that's everything from me. Let's get back to Cartoon Marcus. Okay, and so that's going to be our monthly haul. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about some of my pickups. Have you read any of them? Are you interested in reading any of them? What'd you think of my haul? Was it something a little bit different? I know I had some staples in there, but I think I found some gems as well. Anyway, I drop these once a month, so if you like this type of content, be looking for the next one to come out in December, November's haul, of course. And that one should be good because there's a lot of returning books in that one that I'm excited to read. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, click that like button. Of course, it helps me out in the algorithm, pushes me out to more people, lets them see what we're collecting, what we're watching over here. So I would love if you could do me that favor. And you know what? If you're feeling extra generous, go ahead and click that subscribe button, man. Let them know you fox with your boy the long way. You feel me? Now, coming down the pipeline, we've got quite a few videos coming. I think I'm going to do my first manga review coming up here soon, or maybe not a review, but more of a recommendation. And of course, we're going to have that holiday gift guide coming down the line. And then we're going to be doing another anime review. I have something in my back pocket. I don't want to reveal it yet because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But anyway, lots of content coming in the pipeline, working hard to really deliver some good stuff for you guys. Anyway, like I always say, let's continue to talk about all the things that we like, the things that we don't, and everything in between. And until next time, peace.